This was the last faces sketch that I showed you. I did this sketch online. I'm going to do another one. Now for these face sketches, I've been using a Sharpie fine point. I really do like these for doing a face sketch. I feel like for the money that you pay for them, they work every bit as good as some of the others that I've used in here, where I've used the Zig Point and some of the other well-known drawing pens. So I've been using this Sharpie fine point. I'm very happy with it. And then I also use this ink R2 pen. I get these 2 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. Another thing that I haven't been doing on these is showing the photo that I'm working from. And not that I want to keep it a big secret. For me, for my purposes, I am not going toward a photorealistic representation. And from doing past face sketches, I feel like the viewer, when I'm showing the photo, references the photo and compares to whether or not it looks like the photo. Whether this looks like the photo that I'm working from or not is not a concern to me. What I am working on is studying different features in the face. Like in this instance, her head was tilted this way and her eyes had a slanted line to them. She has an open mouth, which I was working on. The ears were barely visible. Her neck, she had a long neck. Now I do like to reference the photo, and we'll reference this one just as an example. I'm not going to work from this one. One of the things that I do when I'm doing a face is look at the reference photo that I have. This is a vintage photo in my collection, and I'll study it. And I'll say, okay, this man has a high forehead. Look how high his forehead is. He's got a receding hairline, a little hair up on the top, but it's very much a high forehead and receding hairline. Of course, he's got a mustache. He's looking off in this direction. His eyes slant just slightly, maybe a 5-degree angle. It's not a horizontal line, just a very slight line. His ear, the bottom of his ear, here again, there's a slant to it. If you line it up with the nose, it's not parallel to the nose. In fact, it's almost parallel to his upper lip. His hair here, it does not poof out there. It's almost flat in here. Most of his ears are showing. This would be a really good study for an ear. Now, this is a vintage photo, and when you work from a photo, you are working from a two-dimensional object. So these are some of the things that I consider when I start drawing. So I'm not going to show you the reference photo. I will say that this is not a photo that I found online. As this photo is, it is a photograph that I have in my collection. It's a vintage photograph, and it happens to be of a young boy. Now I'll verbally speak what I'm looking at the photo, but I'm not going to show it to you. Oh, he may be a toddler, maybe about 3 years old. He's got a fairly rounded face. He's got a cute little stub nose, and it would be his right eye. You see a part of it. He's got a lot of hair on his head. His ear, the bottom of his ear does line up with his little nose. He's got a big, large head. That's really all I'm going to say about it right now. So I have to laugh at Mary W., who watches my videos a lot. She says that I'm a scanner. When I draw, I seem to start at the top and work down. And I can't tell you how much I think about that when I'm drawing. I'm going, okay, I'm going to try not to be a scanner today. But really, I do think that when I start these photos, I start where it is most logical for me to start. And for this young child's face, I think it is his rounded cheek and his little chin. And sometimes, if you'll see me going like this across the paper, or maybe I'll take my pen and go like that, I'm trying to get a sense of composition on the page. This is a small book. I would say that it's maybe 4 by 5. So I'm not working on a large page, so I'm working on a smaller area. In fact, I think the photograph that I'm looking at, which happens to be a full body photograph, is probably larger than the area on this book. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. At this point, I am going to fast forward through everything. There was a suggestion made that perhaps I talk through some of it and fast forward through the background. I may do that at some point, but if I do that, I'll probably show you the photograph. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to set the photo aside, and as I work on it, I'm just going to fast forward through it. So I'm going to get started, and let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to stop on this now. I have a couple comments to make on this. First of all, when I was sketching, I was thinking about something that you learn in beginning drawing classes most of the time, and that's the darkness and lightness of your lines, how thick they are, the contrast. And as you can see, I have some dark lines in here. I have a dark line, and then it kind of goes thin. His hair in here is thin because this is a young boy. He doesn't have a lot of thick, heavy hair yet. Now his ear could be a little bit more defined. I couldn't get my face up to it the way that I wanted to, but I could define this ear just a little bit more in here, just to make it stand out a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more shading in the back area. Now this is a photograph I'm working from, and so the shading is going to have a lot to do with the light that was present when the photograph was taken. But I do think I achieved the roundness of his face, and I really think I got his eyes. Eyes seem to be easy for me. I think I achieved a young boy's innocence. I got some shadowing under his chin, and then I got the contrast of the dark background bringing the whole drawing out. This was a quick drawing, a very fast sketch, but I'm happy with it in the long run. So those are some of the things that I think about. Here again, I'm using my Sharpie fine point pen and an ink R2 pen that I get at Dollar Tree. It has a wider point to it, and I can get those heavy black lines. So I'm going to call this quits. I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next page.